I'm just kind of freestyling this video right now. I don't really have a script written down. It's nice to be back on live today, and I love doing live because it saves me a lot of time when it comes to preparation and editing and getting my video reposted for everyone to see. It's a lot easier to do live than it is to make a video, edit the video, and upload the video. Once you shoot it live, it's done, it's ready to go, and I like that. Smorgasbord 3. I've been to 4 publishing companies now to publish my third book, and none of it has gone well. And I'm not going to sit here and rattle off the names of all 4 publishing houses because it seems like every time I give my attention or make a comment about someone or something or a company, it seems like that person or that company gets way more attention than they ever did. Basically, I'm tired of making people famous. And that's exactly what happens when I get screwed over. And so I'm not going to name the company specifically, but I set up an interview this morning for 9:30, and the woman calls me, and it wasn't a very good phone interview. She had a little bit of an attitude. She was impatient. I heard it in the voice and I felt it, and I was trying to explain something to her and just trying to steamroll the conversation. And I ended the call. Now, so Smorgasbord 3 is the third book in a 3-book series. I wrote and published Smorgasbord, a collection of thoughts, experiences, and stories. And I wrote and self-published Smorgasbord 2, Catch Up and Relish. I wrote Smorgasbord 3, Poverty and Prophecy. And I wrote a 4th book. So there's 2 books that I'm actually working on right now, unrelated to the Smorgasbord series. The 4th book is about astrology, and the 5th book is a creative piece that's fiction. So she asked me this morning, like, is there a typo in the I'm reading Smorgasbord 3, Poverty and Prophecy. Is there a typo in that? And I really didn't understand the question because that's the title of the book, Smorgasbord 3, Poverty and Prophecy. So, but enough about her and enough about that. So Smorgasbord 3, Poverty and Prophecy. Poverty is my financial situation. Prophecy is what I'm giving you. And the book itself is complete. It's a completed manuscript. It's 64,000 words. It's 3 sections, Section 7, Section 8, and Section 9. And that's because Smorgasbord 1 was Section 1, 2, and 3. Smorgasbord 2 was 4, 5, and 6. And Smorgasbord 3 is Section 7, 8, and 9. And in each section, there's 9 chapters in Section 7, 9 in Section 8, and I think 7 or 6 in the last section. And I wrote it that way because if ever in the future I decided that I wanted to take all 3 of these books and just make one big book out of them, it would go together perfectly. So if I took all 3 books, you would have one hardcover book with 9 sections and 81 chapters almost. And that's the way I wanted it. That would be about 140,000 words, maybe a little bit more. So that's why I wrote it that way. And so, not to get too much into the publishing issues that I'm having with it, but I'm getting just a lot of runaround. And one person told me that the book wasn't ready to be published, and the book's ready to be published. Let me just tell you that it's finished. It's a completed manuscript. It's 64,000 words. It's done from table of contents to bibliography. It's complete. I don't think, and I've heard this a lot, but I know that people probably don't like a lot of the content that's in the book. And I'm not going to apologize for the content that's in the book. That's why I self-published the first 2 books, because I'm not going to be controlled by a publishing company. You're not going to critique and edit and cookie cut my work until it fits perfectly into your business model. I'm a fan of free speech. I'm a lover of free speech and the amendments in the United States Constitution. So I believe what I put on paper, minus grammatical errors, is perfect the way it is. And it's exactly the message that I'm trying to get across. You might not like that message, but that's the message. So New York told me that it wasn't ready to be published. And I don't think New York liked the chapter about the analysis of the John F. Kennedy assassination. I mentioned this many times. I took the astrological chart from November 11th in 1963 at 12:30, and I did a 75 to an 80-page in-depth analysis of the astrological chart of the Kennedy murder. And at the end of the chapter, I basically spell out who I think did it. There's a lot of other information in there that, look, it just doesn't go along with what they want people to know. And, people, we need to start stepping up. We really do need to start stepping up. And what I mean by stepping up is, instead of letting companies control or censor what we say or write, where is the people to step up and say, hey, look, we don't care if it's an opinion. We don't care if it's not true. We want to hear what he's got to say. I want to hear what he's got to say. I want to hear what his opinion is. Like, who are you to censor that and prevent people from reading or hearing? So New York said it wasn't ready, and I really think that they didn't like what I was doing with that chapter that had to do with the Kennedy assassination. But it wasn't only about that. Like I said, there's 3 sections with almost 27 chapters total. And there's poetry in there again. There's short story, fiction, and there's really not so much in the chapters with my life. I know that I told you guys that I've written several chapters titled My Life in the first 2 books. And I explained to you guys that there was the thought behind that, and there was a lot of thought that went behind that, because I was really, in addition to giving my opinion about my experiences in life, or my experiences in life and my opinions about the experiences, I also was thinking down the road a couple hundred years, because what would be more valuable and what would be more important to humanity than a written account, a historical written account of somebody who lived in anywhere, who lived in a country. Think about if you had an accurate daily written account of, like, what Julius Caesar did every day. You know, what if he was like, oh, I got up, I brushed my teeth, I went to 7-Eleven. You know, it's like, damn, there were 7-Elevens 2,000 years ago. Like, these are the things that people pick at and take out of context or content when they don't want you to know about it. You know, if people are trying to hide how far advanced we are, then they're going to pull out these little details. And so that's what I thought about down the road. I thought about 200 years down the road, somebody could pick up my book and say, you know what? This is what life was like for a man living in America in the 2000s. And that is so valuable to us as humans. It's like a written account. And so there's not so much of that in Smorgasbord 3. I introduced my systems of numerology. I explained those in the video yesterday, Oculus 13 and Denominology. There are two variations or forms of numerology that I came up with myself. One I created for a story in Smorgasbord 2, and the other one was something I came up with or created a little while after I published the second book. So, like I said, there's been 4 publishing houses or companies that I've gone to have this book published, and it's been rejected by 2, which I'm surprised because, look, I'm not picking publishing companies, you know, that are hammering the mainstream narrative. Like, I'm going dark. I'm going to the people that publish occult, people that publish esoteric, you know, astrology, numerology, geomancy, witchcraft. I'm going to the companies that are known for publishing fringe material. So why am I getting so much pushback from a community that I'm basically already in? And the interview today was just pretty much the icing on the cake, man. It was the icing on the cake. And I just hung up and I ended it. And you know, I got an email back that she was sorry. She apologized. And I was going to send her an email back and say, look, you don't need to apologize to me. Trust me when I tell you, I'm good. Okay? You might not think I'm good because you don't understand me, but I'm really good. I forgive you. I forgive you. You don't need to apologize to me and say you're sorry. I expected the attitude. I expected the impatience. I expected the frustration, the sarcasm. I expected it because I get it all the time. So I forgive you. I hope one day I could find myself a traditional publishing company that will pick up this book and help me push it. Because Smorgasbord 1, a collection of thoughts, experiences, and stories, is a very, very, very good book. Well written, good book. I personally like the second one better. The first one sells more. And people seem to just, I don't know, they just seem to go to the first book more. I don't know. It's a very good book. I had a lot of fun writing the second book, but the first book I think was good. It was really good. And if you buy it and you start reading it, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So I had brought up David Goggins yesterday in the video that I made because he said something in an interview that I watched. He said, it's you. You don't need to wait for a special purpose or a special reason to do something. It's you. And that's when I realized that I've been giving myself or making up an excuse for why I stopped going to the gym when I was done playing football in 2022. Isn't my health good enough to run and lift for? Isn't my health good enough for me to train for? Do I have to have a sport in my life to train? No. And he just really hit the nail on the head, and he just really woke me up to that. And then, like I said, I watched not long after that a video about an herbalist who, she was a witch and she's kind of going through her herbal garden, and she mentions, self love or something. And we hear the term self love so much in the New Age movement, but nobody ever tells you how or what it actually is. And part of what Goggins said about it's you and not needing a special reason uh, or a purpose to take care of yourself, that goes hand in hand with what self love is. Because we live in a culture that really doesn't teach you about you, which is part of the reason why I fell in love with astrology. It was the first thing that actually taught me about myself or helped me learn or understand about myself. But we live in a culture, in a society that teaches you that everyone and everything else is important, right down to organized religion. You're worshiping everything that's outside of your body: statues, deities, I don't know, poles, pictures, stars, icons. You're worshiping everything that's outside of your body. So yeah, so that's just, I don't want to get too far off the track here, but it goes hand in hand with self-love. It goes hand in hand with making yourself a priority, and try not to get too wrapped up in this outer worship or this exterior worship, because what ends up happening is, and I'll say it real quick, the point that I was trying to make. The point I was trying to make was that we live in a culture that teaches you that everyone and everything else is important. So you're constantly trying to help, you're trying to serve, you're trying to be of assistance. And then when the day comes when you have no one to help or to assist or to be of service to, you don't know what to do with yourself, because you never learned about yourself. You never loved yourself first or gave yourself the foundation. Because look, everybody feels good when they have a chance to help someone. But if you're getting your validation through that only, that's not really good. You can't really depend on other people needing help for you to help them to feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to have it together within you. You got to be good and complete within you before you start to help other people. Because if there's no one to help, well, then what do you do? What do you do for validation? What do you do for fulfillment? So, and that's the big letdown with community. And that's the whole purpose of the spiritual journey, is to go on that journey for self-discovery and self-awareness, so that you can learn about yourself and be good on your own. And if somebody needs your help, you can help. You don't have to help them to feel good about yourself, but you can. But you got your own thing going on, and you know who you are. And part of the conflict that I have with people is because I am so confident, and I do know who I am. And I come up against people all the time that aren't, and people in conversations try to break you down, and they try to figure you out. You're having a conversation with somebody because of something that you want to, for whatever reason. And you got people in a conversation that are trying to figure you out, which I never really understood. And it gets annoying after a while, because you're not concentrating on what I'm telling you. You're trying in your head to figure me out so you could compete with me and have a leg up. And I'm just trying to talk to you about something that, I need to speak to you about. So getting back to the point of Goggins, yeah, he just really opened my eyes to making yourself important, because you are a priority, and you don't need to have any special purpose or sport in your life to go to the gym, to eat well, to run, to brush your teeth, to look good, to get your hair cut, hygiene. You don't need, to have a girlfriend. You could look good and not have a significant other in your life. You don't need things in your life to take care of yourself. You're important enough. And the second thing about what he mentioned in that video that I wanted to touch upon was he says you got to have a dog in you, and there's a lot of profanity and cursing in his book. And one of the ladies that bought his book came back to him and said, "Listen, you know, I love what you're doing. I love the work. However, there's a lot of profanity in the book. I want my son to read it, but there's a lot of cursing." And his comeback to that, which was a great one, was, "Well, how long are you going to shelter your son for?" And that's the perfect answer. That's the best answer. And I'm so glad he said that, because that just proves the level that he's on. How long you're questioning me about my book and the profanity in it, and I'm questioning you about how long you're going to shelter your kid for. The world really isn't a nice place. And he's right about that. You do have to have a dog in you. And the older you get, and the more mistakes that you have in your life, see, the more you have to have the dog in you. And I identify and I resonate and relate with him so much, because the older that you get, and I'm going to explain something to you real quick about this. When you're in school or you're in college and you're going through school and you're going through school and the program, and I'm sorry about that. You're going through school and the program, and you graduate and you're getting good grades and you're on the top of your game, and so you go into the professional field, and it seems like when you go that route, the path is clear for you. The path is clear for you because it's your first time coming through. You know what I mean? You go through high school, you get good grades. You go through college, you get good grades. You graduate, you go into your career. The doors are open for you. The arms are open. Everybody's welcoming you in. But as life goes on, some people make mistakes. Some people get hooked on drugs. Some people go to jail. Some people get in trouble with their girlfriend or boyfriend. Some people, there's family issues. There's a million reasons or for why things could go wrong in somebody's life. But once you fall off that initial path because of something that happened to you or something that you did, it becomes even harder to come back, because you were up here and you fell down here. Now you're in a category or with a group of people who are all trying to get back in the race. And it's now you got to claw, you're not the golden child anymore that graduated college with good grades and, was at the top of his class. You were that. Then you had an issue with drugs, you lost your job, you lost your car, you were homeless for a while. So now you went from here to here. And now you're in a group of people that are clawing their way to try to get back in the race. And the point of it is, yeah, you do have to have a dog in you. You really do. And the older that you get, the more of a dog you have to have, because the more mistakes that you make, the harder it is to get back in the race. Not because you're doing anything to make it hard, but because of the people around you. Well, why does he deserve a second chance? Well, why does he deserve a third chance? Why does he deserve to get that job? And it's there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of envy. Once you fall into that pool or that hole with people that have just been in there, have made mistakes, have refused to take care of their lives, have refused to make themselves better. They just sit in that hole and they're happy there. And then when you fall into that, and you try to climb out, it's like, there's a lot of jealousy and a lot of envy. So, yeah, you do have to have a dog in you. And that dog, the older you get, the hungrier and more vicious it gets, because it knows that the world isn't a nice place. It knows that, the front is, yeah, everything's good. But you know what? It's not. It's not. And the minute you get that job, and the minute you start making that money, and the minute you start getting on your feet and moving along, there's a lot of there's a lot of envy, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of people that want to knock you off, there's a lot of people that want to disrupt you. It's really competitive. People, I'm not going to say by nature, but people are really out for themselves, out for their families, out for their paycheck, and out for their own interests. Trust me, I know. I'm going to be 45 next year, man, and I've had a lot of jobs. I've had a lot of jobs, and I've worked with a lot of different people, and trust me when I tell you that the world isn't really a nice place. You do have to have a dog in you, like he said, and you do got to be on your toes and focused and ready. And those are the things that I just that's it, man. Those are the things that I wanted to cover. I wanted to take a little bit of time. Excuse me for 1 second. Quiet. Okay. I try to make a video in this house and I get a million different distractions. It's just no respect. Anyway, I wanted to make the purpose of me making this video today was was because of the way the interview went this morning. And I feel if I had, oh man, it's so much better not having to yell over dogs. Holy shit. Wow. Whew. Okay. So I didn't like the way the interview went this morning. I thought the woman was rude. I thought she was impatient. And I was trying to tell her that there was nothing on her website. And I really forgot where I went or navigated to get the information that I needed because it was a few days ago. And the website, if you go to it, there's nothing on it. It's just a bullet point presentation of a few different things. And there's a little box in the corner that requires you to put your information in so that you could get a free packet or set up an interview for someone to talk to you about your book. So there's nothing on the website. And I was trying to explain. Hold on a second. So there's nothing on the website. There's nothing on the website for you to click on. And that was my point. And I was going to the email and she just tried to overpower me. And I just don't like when someone tries to overpower me in a conversation because I am really patient and I do a lot of listening, probably more listening than I should. So when someone starts to overpower me, there's no need for that. There's no room for that. There's just no space for that. I'm an author. I'm a writer. You're a publishing company. You need me as much as I need you. I don't enter this agreement or this contract, thinking that I'm better than you. That's not how I approach this. I approach this in a way that I need you and you need me, and I don't look at the situation in any way that I'm above you or over you. And what's sad is that there's a lot of people in the professional world that do think that way, and they think that because they get an author on the phone that they got to put this show on or try to just try to win a leg up or let you know that, like, yeah, you might have written the book and you might be the talent and you might have a really special skill, but you need me to publish the book. It's always like this struggle for power. And I don't do business that way. And I don't carry myself that way. I don't never have thought I was better than anybody else. I just want to be recognized for the achievements that I do or that I have or that I work hard for. I don't look at the publishing company as somebody beneath me. I look at the publishing company as somebody that can help me, right? Because I don't have a publishing company. I can't publish my own work. I could write 100,000 word manuscript, but I can't put that into book form and put it on a bookshelf. If I could do it myself, I would, but I don't. So, but the point is that I look at you, the publisher, as a partner in this, not as someone that's beneath me. And you shouldn't look at me as someone who's beneath you, or as a competitor, or someone that you got to try to have a leg up on, or you know, or you got to prove something to me about your position, because that's really not even in my mind. I'm contacting you to talk about my book, to see how you can help me put it on the shelf and sell it. That's it, man. I'm not trying to have any type of like, uh, you know, confrontation, or any type of, I'm the big bad author, and and it's not even like that. It's not even like that. So, and if you don't like your job, then you should really quit it. If you can't pick up the phone at 9:30 in the morning and call somebody and have an interview with them, and you can't say, "Hi, Mr. Lamanna, how are you? Good morning. It's a pleasure working with you. I heard this is your third book." I mean, if you can't pick up the phone and do business that way, then quit your job. Quit your job. Because I don't need it. I don't want to get on the phone with you and have you dump fucking 3 days of shit on me. I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that. And I'm going to tell you one last thing before I end this live. Things are really starting to heat up now, and I should probably stay on, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna tell you guys something. This publishing company, and like I said, I'm not going to say the name of it, because every time I say the name of somebody that deals with me poorly, or disrespects me, or treats me in a way that's shitty, every time I mention the name of that place, they get more notoriety, they get more fame, they get more clout, they get more business, they get more attention that they have ever gotten before. So it's not worth me mentioning your name, because I'm going to make you famous. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm not going to say the name, but I'm going to say something that's really important to me, because it is. I'm trying to think of how I could say this without saying her name, but I'm just going to say it this way. Louise Hay was a special woman. Okay. I didn't know her personally, but I resonated with her deeply. And I used to lay in meditation listening to her in 2010, because I was battling with a problem of my own. She wrote the book on self healing, cured her own vaginal cancer with her own ability. There aren't many people that have done more for the New Age movement, the spiritual world, natural healing, or the herbal field than Louise Hay worldwide. The lady cured herself of cancer. She wrote the book on self healing. And, for you to use her and her life, you better carry yourself like a professional. You better know what you're talking about. Because to get on the phone with me and have an attitude with me and rush me, and you're in partnership with Hay House, which is the reason why I called your publishing company to begin with, you better really think about how you're doing business when you're doing business with somebody like that. Because you have a lot to live up to. And you know what? Just like the Edgar Casey's in the world, and the Louise Hayes, and all of these people that die after making tremendous achievements, a lifetime full of work and achievements, and just, giving themselves to the world, and then they die, and then you have these people that want to make billions off of the work that they've done, and the people themselves aren't really shit, don't have any ability, they're just living off the name. So you know what, it's a shame, and that's what bothered me the most, because there was really a special reason for why I picked this publishing company, and I was really disappointed at the way the conversation went. And that's all I'm going to say. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. And you know what? If you're a publishing company and you think that you can help me get Smorgasbord 3 on the shelf or published, send me an email, newnews@newsbuffet.com. It's NOONOOZ at NOOZBUFFET.com. That's news@newsbuffet.com. News is spelled with O. NOOZ at NOOZBUFFET.com. New news at newsbuffet.com. Have a good day.